Welcome back to the Don't Stop Me Now podcast, where being negative can be a good thing and being positive can turn the world against you. Hello, I am your HIV positive host, Miss Jennifer Levon, and this is episode 126. I am back sooner than I had planned. I have some things that I need to share. I've been a bit sick since my last podcast. I visited the doctor finally. And I have to hold this little mic-y thing because I have two of them, but both times this little bracket thing broke off. So like I tried to tape it to my sweatshirt. It's not working. Okay. And but before I get to being sick with pneumonia, because yeah, that is in the title. I just wanted to share one quick thing. I got a new fob for my car. You guys remember when I lost the fob at the Shoreline Amphitheater after I saw Alanis Morissette, and 10 minutes after I walked away from the area that was not hard to find because it was dead center up at the top, just below where they sell food and drinks, up at the top on the grass area. Lights were on. I'm scanning the entire area. People were basically gone. There were some people cleaning up. It was gone. So, of course, what would somebody do with one of these? They should go turn it in to guest relations. That would be the smart thing to do, I would think. But it never showed up there at Shoreline. I checked in person, and it was a different concert. I don't know. But I did go back and then I went back to see Train and checked in person again and actually went into the office, and they didn't have it. So I checked with Subaru. These suckers cost $500. $477 with tax, about $500 for the replacement. And again, if I lose the other one that I had, I could not get into my car and I couldn't start my car because you need these to start the car. So there's some, nifty programming that go with these. So I was just not ready to throw down $500 during Christmas time to buy another one of these. I've been putting it off. And then I was at the beach with my daughter yesterday. We were walking along Westcliff and we were taking pictures of birds. And I was hanging my hands over the railing. Down below was water. And I had my car keys in my hand. And I thought, if I had dropped my keys, that would have been it. I wouldn't have been able to drive my car. I would have been completely screwed. And I don't even know at that point. Well, I guess they would have had to have made two fobs. And it would have been expensive. So anyways, what happened was right after we were at Westcliff, we go to Costco. And you know how when you're walking into Costco, there's those guys that are trying to sell you stuff along the way as you're going in. And there happened to be a guy with this kiosk set up selling these. And I'm thinking, there's no way he's got these. He did. I went back and I said, okay, sell me one. What's the deal? How much do they cost? Do you have one for a Subaru Crosstrek 2024? And he looked it up. He goes, yeah, we have those in stock. You just pay at the check stand with this scan code. He gave me a barcode. And then you go to the orange truck out in the parking lot. It'll take less than 15 minutes. They'll have it programmed for your car and you'll be on your way. $330 with tax. Not bad. I mean, I saved $170. So anyways, I got my other one and I do have my I need to get a, what do you call it? One of these things. I don't know. I can't remember what they call all these fancy doodads, but anyways, I've got the holder for it, but I need to get the actual piece that will help me find it if I happen to lose another one. So that's going to be in my safekeeping. And it was really fast. I went to the check stand and I came out and I went to the van and it was all very professional. They had all their little things set up in the van. It looks like they definitely know what they're doing. These two guys ran over to my car with their matching hats on and programmed it into my Subaru. I mean, they look like they were UCSC students. All of them did, actually. I thought, wow, they got a really good thing going on here. Is it really their company or is it somebody else? I don't know. But anyways, done. And that's the first time I've ever really taken anyone up on their offer as I walk through that beginning part of Costco and they're all trying to hit you up with different things. Usually it's cell phones and, solar roofing and stuff. But today it worked for me. So I'm happy about that. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. My last episode, I had talked about my viral load, my CD4 count, and just where it was all out after missing many doses over basically about 6 weeks. Started around mid-December. Again, remember, I did the first 10 days, and then I had my blood drawn. During those first 10 days that I tried this experiment, I took the pill 3 times and I was undetectable. So I thought, I am on the right path here. This is going to work. And then I went through November, didn't feel any different or anything. And then I went ahead and had my blood drawn very recently because I had an appointment coming up, which was today. And but on December 6th, did not feel good. Flew home from Washington, D.C., felt like dog shit. Knew something was up. You can tell when you're just coming down with something and you're getting the chills and you're too hot or you feel like your body's not regulating the heat correctly at all. And, I just was, oh my God, my back started hurting on that flight, the whole deal. So I had the next day off. I just chilled that whole day and I thought, okay, I've got to, I don't have a fever. I'm fine. It's just a cold, whatever. I go to work the next day. I make it through to 2:30 and then I called my after school program. I said, I need to go lay down. I do not feel well. And she was like, no problem, no problem. So that week, I got through the week. I can't believe it. I did get through that week. It turned into like I lost my voice, just was dragging each day. Couldn't really think of anything to eat. Nothing really tasted good. Oh, look at the sun is coming in. It's a rainy day here in California. It's January 3rd, by the way. And so anyway, I got through that week and I really wanted to tell the staff why I went to Washington, D.C., but I didn't want to tell them when I was sick. So I waited the following Friday. So I worked another week. And then that Friday was the Friday before we all left for Christmas break. I think it was around the 19th. And then I had gone through the week of Christmas, still not feeling great, just kind of just feeling it, thinking this is going to get better. But I've now developed this kind of wet cough. And I thought, I'm just going to wait until I see my doctor on today. And I was like, I'll just wait till I see her and then, we'll just take care of it. Well, I had gone out to lunch with my family. I'd met them over in Redwood City area, which is about an hour away from where I live. I went with my ex-husband. My kids all couldn't go. So it was my mom's side of the family. And during that lunch, I looked at the menu and we were at Harry's Hofbrau and everything should look delicious. Nothing looked good. I was just not like I was nauseated like when I was pregnant, but kind of the same, just blah. I felt gray. Everything felt gray. So I order a turkey sandwich and I try not to eat any meat. I don't eat red meat. I won't eat pork, but I thought, okay, I don't feel like great. I'll eat turkey. See how it makes me feel. I ate the turkey sandwich. It tasted like nothing, and it was not their fault. I think it was my taste buds. But I sat there, and I'm like, oh, I'm having conversations with everybody, but I'm feeling like literally in my solar plexus, this sort of light, kind of like it felt like an internal ache. And that is where my lower lungs are. So I'm thinking that had to have been that I was feeling pneumonia there. But anyway, I have to drive back because it's my car. So my ex-husband's in the passenger seat and I'm driving back and I'm thinking we have a game to go to tonight for my son too. So I have to get ready to go to that. That was an 8:00 game in Carmel. And I'm just like, oh my God, how am I going to, I'm so I feel so blah. So about 3 days after that, I'm like, I got to go to the doctor. I'm just going to go. So I go to the doctor and it's 2:00 on a Saturday. And they're like, we are booked through the day. Come back in the morning. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, well, I tried. So I go back in the morning, 8:00 in the morning. They test me for the flu and COVID, comes back. And by the way, they did everything outside because I was considered, I'm contagious or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Am I still contagious? I don't know. So, it was raining and the PA comes out and he goes, okay, you're positive for the flu B. And I will say that I did not get my flu shot this year. I got it last year, but I got the flu last year also. So I didn't do it this year thinking, what's the point? And I talked about the fact that I've had the flu 3 years in a row in December. I can't remember last year whether it was A or B, and the prior year I also had the flu. Don't remember if it was A or B, but I've had both. I know. 1 year was A, 1 year was B. I can't remember which. Doesn't really matter. But I guess the main thing to know is that the flu vaccine isn't to stop the flu. It's to lessen the symptoms. So, lesson learned. Okay, so I didn't get my flu shot and I have the flu, but he definitely said you have rattling. No, did he listen to my lungs? Yes, in the car, he put the stethoscope through my open window and listened to my lungs. And he said, okay, I'm going to have you do a chest x ray. They had those at Doctors on Duty. So I go and get my lovely chest x ray. Kind of fun. I get to see my implants from the side and get to see my. I really liked the picture of my. I'll put it on YouTube of my scapulas. I'm a scapula fan. I think they're beautiful bones. I don't know what it is. I just love them. They're like the hanger of your body. They're your natural hanger. It's just, they're beautiful. So, excuse me, I will be coughing here and there. So I got I got to look and see, and I thought there was something blurry, and she said, well, that's your heart. And I said, oh, okay. So she said, we won't have the results for a day or two. So I'm assuming I'll hear from the office. I never did. I'm not, and he goes, I'm just going to treat it for, what I want you to know is I'm going to treat it for pneumonia. And he goes, we don't know whether it's bacterial or viral. Mind you, the pneumonia I had when I was sick with AIDS was more than likely pneumococcal, which is, I'm holding up my third finger here, which is, my God, fungal. So he felt more than likely it was community-acquired pneumonia, didn't know whether it was viral or bacterial. Gonna treat you with Tamiflu for the viral, that's an antiviral, and I'm gonna treat you with Zithromax, a Z-Pack, for the bacterial. We're gonna do a double. So I have taken all of that medication. That ended yesterday. But before I get to my appointment with my doctor, he was a PA, and I've seen him before, and he's been really, really nice. But he said to me that I know that your numbers are undetectable, because I guess he could see my stuff, even though I have a 35 right now or a 36 after my last labs. I don't know if he had access to that or not, or if he looked at that, but he goes, and I know your CD4 is good and all that. But he said, I still want you to know that as a person with HIV, you're still living with an immunocompromised system. You're still more susceptible to viruses and bacteria. So I will say that my doctors never told me that. I know that there was kind of a little celebration after my CD4 went over 490, because there's a study that was done that people that get over 490 and kind of maintain a CD4 of over 490 have the same life expectancy as anybody else. That was years ago when that first happened. And of course it went down a little bit at times, but it's gone back up. Now it's it's in the 600 range. So I've always asked her, am I immunocompromised, especially around COVID? I really don't like that term. And if you know me, I'm stubborn from one thing. I don't want to be a special snowflake. I don't want to be treated differently because of HIV. I don't want anyone to think that I'm any different than them because of HIV. It's very important for me that people understand that. I take a pill a day. This virus is so suppressed that the labs can't even find it. Like, I want people to understand, I don't want any pity, and I don't want anyone to look at me that I'm different or that I need any special treatment. Like, that really bothers me. So when he kept reiterating that I'm a person living with a compromised immune system, or that I'm immunocompromised, I just had to bite my tongue. I'm like, I'm not going to have this argument with him. I'll be seeing my doctor soon, and I will ask her then. So I talked about it on my social media. Most people that are HIV positive wrote to me and said that they've always heard that they're not. Like, once you're undetectable and your CD4 is good, you're just like everyone else. So they all kind of confirmed it through my stories and writing to me and said, yeah, my doctor always says, like, I'm the same as everybody else. So I'm like, okay, but he was so insistent. And then he and I did have a phone conversation after, and he revealed to me that he had worked in San Francisco at an AIDS service organization, and so he was definitely around HIV and he was familiar with it. So then I was like, that gave him more credibility to me, because at first I was just like, okay, he's just a dude that doesn't know shit about HIV, and so he's going with stigma and just, or who knows what he studied, but he seemed very knowledgeable. Like, it was really like, it was a spin for me because it really wasn't what I've been accustomed to hearing. And he seemed so confident in that there's inflammation from the virus that's in your cells, which, yeah, I'm aware of that and all that. But just to have that label of you're immunocompromised was really bothersome to me. So anyway, I saw my doctor today. I'm going to share some of it, but obviously not all of it because it's, I don't like, okay, let's just start for this. My doctor saw my YouTube video, the last one I made. I don't know if she follows me or not, but she doesn't typically watch my stuff, but it came across her. It was the title. I mean, it literally says my reveal of my viral load after skipping doses. You know, I did this on my own. This was not doctor approved. It wasn't anything I'd ever told her that I would do. And of course, she was curious, and I don't blame her, like, of course. And she was honest with me and said, I don't watch your stuff, just so you know, but that title alarmed me, and I get it. I mean, I totally get that. And I didn't want her to be disappointed. I really wanted to get an undetectable so that I could have done that experiment and had her never know, because I don't want her to ever feel that I'm doing something outside of what she recommends, because she is my doctor. But this was just something that I wanted to try for myself. And I had all these people writing to me going, I don't take my medicine every day. I never do. I've gone weeks without it. I'm still undetectable. So those things were milling around in my head. And I'm like, and of course, when I did those first 10 days and was undetectable with just 3 pills, it made me think that it's going to be fine, right? But I had a 36, and that is something that she would question for sure, because I'm not somebody who gets anything. I typically don't get anything. It's usually not detected. So I kind of already knew the conversation was going to happen, but I didn't know that she'd seen my video. But she did open up to me immediately. And like, as soon as the conversation came up about my viral load, it was, she wanted to let me know. She said, I know what it is. And I was like, that I didn't know that she was know what I did. She's gonna know everything before I come in here. Like, I felt, and I told her I feel like a child. Like, I feel like, but I also was really honest and said, look, like, it's the first time in 9 years that I felt this liberation from my medication. That doesn't bother me. I don't have any side effects, but it was psychological. I wanted to try it for myself. And of course, when I started getting sick on the 6th on that flight home and also had BV, I was scared. I said, it scared me. It was a real, like, whoa moment. And I said, from that point forward, I took it every day, and I won't ever try this again. Obviously. And so, we had a, I'd say it was kind of not the most fun conversation for me. It's hard. I mean, I don't want to disappoint her ever. I wanted to make sure that everybody also knew that I wasn't promoting what I did. I wanted to try this for myself and be transparent, but I was in no way wanting anyone to do what I did like that. It was on me. Of course, my kids came to mind immediately when I felt sick on the plane, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And I was hoping by the time I got my blood draw, it would be completely undetectable and we wouldn't have had to have that conversation. But we did. So now it's, a conversation about my current condition right now with pneumonia and me skipping pills. So the good news is, I will say, and by the way, she's very, very, like, she gets 100% why I did what I did. And she says, I know lots of people who have done that. And I get it. I understand why you would want to do that. But and she said, I also said, I kind of wanted another supply of pills. Like, I don't have any extra, and now I do. And she said, I wish you would have come to me for that. Like, we could have talked about that. I could have, if that was really the concern. That wasn't obviously the main concern. It was part of my thinking into doing it. And I said, yeah, but if I had asked you to do this, you would have said no. And there's another thing, a really important piece to this is that I take Dovato, which is only two drugs. I don't take anything with 3 drugs. So my treatment is already, as she would say, is like a light version, and it works for me. And it has. I've been on it for, I think, like 5 years now. And somebody had written to me who's HIV positive who had said, they don't really, I mean, I don't know where he got this information from, but he said, they prescribe Dovato for people that they feel are going to be compliant. They're not going to give Dovato to somebody who's, not taking their medication as prescribed, because it is a light version, meaning you need to be on it pretty much every day. Right? I mean, we're all human. We miss a pill here and there. We're human. It happens. And that wouldn't change anything, a pill here and there. But as a regular process and doing it on a regular basis, the way I was doing it, it didn't work. And like, we don't know what my viral load went up to. Maybe it never went over 100. I'll never know. And it's fine. I don't need to know. There was something else I was going to say. I said, and I know about the 4-day on, 3-day off study. And she said, but do you know that there's a lot of studies that have refuted that study? And I'm like, no, didn't know that. So food for thought, if anybody wants to check that out. I wasn't aware of that. Because there was a study that was, they presented it in AIDS 2019 about being on 4 days on, 3 days off. Maybe that was a pill that was like more robust than mine. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know. But so again, I know, and please don't go after me in the comments and be like, I told you, you should have been listening to your doctor. I know, but I still wanted to do this. It wouldn't have changed anything. I still wanted to try it. I was so curious. And I told her, it created such a stir in my messages. Like, so many people were writing about this. So many people are wanting to talk about this, about not taking their pill every day and how it might affect one. And so it did, and she got that. She's like, yeah, I know. Believe me, I've been dealing with HIV treatment for 25 years, and I know that this is definitely a topic that comes up, and I understand why you did it. But she just said, just don't do it again. I said I promised I would not. So, anyway. So, again, my CD4 was 650. Somebody had written to me and said, but remember, CD4 goes up sometimes when you're sick. That can be the case, but she confirmed, she looks at the trends of my numbers and all that. And, she said, when we look at your numbers, you have really good numbers. She goes, your numbers have, and that doesn't mean everybody has that. She goes, but when I look at like patterns, and I'm not going to go into it because honestly, that's her specialty. That's not mine. I just know my CD4 and my viral load. And she just said, your numbers have been consistently very good. And so she said, which is why she can confidently say she doesn't feel that I'm immunocompromised. That doesn't mean that somebody else with HIV couldn't be. But in my case, and we are all different. We all have different makeups. So in my case, I'm not going to say that she said, yes, you absolutely are not immunocompromised, because she would say there's never 100% on anything, but she feels more so that I'm not, which is like, I like that. I'm going with that. That makes me happy. The other component of this is my pneumonia. So I got pneumonia, and I've been real stubborn about vaccinations, because of course our vaccinations have changed over the years. My sister just sent me something on, what was taken in 1968 or 63 or something. It was like 3 versus like in the 80s versus today, where the schedule it's just, there's lots. So, I've got a lot of influence in my family, a lot of people in my ear. My mom is very concerned about the COVID vaccine. My sister is as well. A lot of people are. Like, this is not news to anybody. There's a lot of people that don't want to ever get the COVID vaccine, and that people have lost their jobs over it. People have been kicked out of the military for not taking it, Did I turn this thing off? Oh, it died on me. Okay. All right. Gonna have to do my audio from my what do you call it? My Audacity here. Anyway, the point is that, I did not do my flu vaccine this last year, but I did do it the year before. But then, I don't know, I just was like so pissed that I still got the flu, even though I took the flu vaccine in 2023, that this year I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. And then I got the flu again. and I got pneumonia. So here's the end result, and I think she'd be okay with me sharing this. Just again, we don't know 100% anything, right? Because we won't really ever truly have an answer. But because my numbers are still very good, even though I did the skipping and all of that, more than likely the pneumonia happened because I did not get the flu vaccine, and my flu turned into pneumonia. I basically got pneumonia from the flu. So the flu vaccine isn't going to necessarily stop the flu. I think I said that earlier. It can decrease symptoms, but the most important part that I took away from this appointment is that flu vaccine can stop me from this turning into pneumonia. And here I am with pneumonia. So I had another chest x-ray today because the one that they took last week or 5 days ago or whatever showed it in one lung. Today she hears rattles in the other lung. So she said, I would normally wait like 6 weeks to have it redone because it won't really make a big difference to do it like this many days later after you just had it. So she said, but I'm going to have you do it today because I hear it rattling in your other lung. And I am still coughing up green shit, and I still don't have an appetite, and I feel run down. My green shit is less chunky and more runny, but it is there. I mean, it's disgusting what's been coming out of my lungs. So they did the x-ray, and then they got it back, and it says my pectus excavatum, where my chest caves in, is affecting the freaking viewing of my lung. What's new? So anyways, yeah, I've got that concave chest on my right side underneath my breast. It's like my I mean, it's very interesting to feel. My ribs dip way in. I mean, it feels like it goes to my back. It's crazy. And then my left side's normal. And my daughter actually has like a protrusion on her ribs, and you can feel it's like a bone comes out right here. Like you could feel it, like this bone isn't that obvious on her because she has a little mound right here where her rib is going like a little, it's like not obvious. I'd never noticed it, but she showed it to me and I was like, oh yeah, I see it. So I don't know. We've got some rib stuff going on in our family here, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I guess my rib was in the way of the of the x-ray, but they want to get the results. The x-ray technician, you could read in the bottom, it said having the results from the prior images that were done will be very, very helpful. So anyways, we'll get more confirmation on that. So yeah, as long as I'm not getting worse and I'm progressively getting better, which I have felt like I'd say I told her I'm anywhere 15 to 20% better from when I went to to doctors on duty 5 or 6 days ago. So I would say one of the two helped. Tamiflu, I think I did already say that. Yeah, I always thought Tamiflu was for symptoms. It's not. It's an antiviral. So if it's viral, it should have really helped with that. The Zithromax is bacterial, for a bacterial infection. Of course, we don't know which one it is. So we're trying both. Both of those are only 5 days long. So that's it. So I'm done taking medication, lots of fluids, try to eat when I can because I have not felt like eating at all. Like I said, food is like a afterthought right now. I thought this is what people must feel like on Ozempic because I'm not even, my day isn't run at all thinking about food. Like I forget that I haven't eaten. And then I kind of feel crappy, but I don't feel hungry, but I feel crappy. And I'm like, I need to eat something so I don't feel crappy, but nothing sounds good. And then it gets like later in the day and it's like 5 o'clock and all I've had is coffee. And I'm like, oh shit, I've got to eat something. I've got it. So like last night I ate a chicken apple sausage, like with mustard. I'm like, I'll eat that. That'll help. That'll do something. And yeah, and I've lost weight too. I'm 7 pounds away from where I was when I had AIDS. Like that was my lowest. I'll be honest, I was 118 then, and I'm 5'10" and a half. I'm 125 right now. It's like the lowest I've been since I was sick with that. So, yeah, it's hard to go to the gym because it's like, well, right now I don't feel great, but like I had been running like a crazy person because I think I got to like close to 142 or something. I don't like to be in the 40s for me. It's just, I don't like that, the way my body feels because I wear my weight on my hips and my stomach. And so I wanted to get rid of it. So I ran like a crazy person for like 6 months to Taylor Swift. And then now I lost the weight. So the weight's gone. And then like all there's left to do is tone up. But like, I don't ever notice big changes, and it just gets like, why am I even doing this? Like, I don't need to lose weight. I guess just go to firm up, and then I don't know. I lose interest in the firming up part of it. So, because like what do I want firmed up? The top of my thighs so they don't look wrinkly. But like, it doesn't matter how many leg exercises I do, they're still wrinkly. It's like, so then I get discouraged. I'm like, what's the point? I mean, I've done triceps for like a million times in 2 years, and I still, when I wave my arm, I can feel it. That's my sweatshirt, not my arm, but like I can feel it. Let's see if I can make it. I don't know. I just feel like see it? It's jiggling down there. It's jiggling. And my daughters will like touch my arm and it feels like it jiggles. I'm like, don't do that. It's just old lady skin. It's what happens. And I don't think there's any way to fix that, unfortunately. So anyways, I don't think I'll wrap it up. I'll really quickly say that I have to talk about the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds craziness that's all over TikTok at the moment. So if you've seen the movie It Ends With Us or read the book, I loved it. I love the book. I love the movie. I did. I saw it the day it came out. I was very perplexed by the fact that Justin Baldoni wasn't like doing press with the cast and crew. They had all unfollowed him on social media when when they were doing the press for the movie. I was like, that's freaking weird. But I didn't really think he had done anything wrong. It was funny because he came across as this really nice guy who was really all about like feminist issues and domestic violence, and he's like a man listening to women and all of that. And I was like, he came across as so kind and gentle, and I was like, this guy is like, what a dreamboat. And he has like a beautiful wife, and he had this beautiful moment with her on, I don't know if it was a podcast or something, how he's crying and he's like, I just want to tell you, you're everything to me. And like, he's apologizing for anything he's ever done in the past as a man and anything he might do in the future as a man. And it was like, wow, what a man. And then boom, like, I don't know what it's been like 3 weeks now. Blake Lively, through the New York Times, announces a complaint, a sexual harassment claim against him. And now we're all like, oh my God, this is why they didn't want him to be part of the press junket. They all unfollowed him, including her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and the author of the book. He, by the way, had rights to the movie because he has his own production company, and he was the producer, the director, and the main character. So he had a lot invested in this movie. And so anyways, she had a list of things that he had apparently done to make her uncomfortable during the movie, like walking into her trailer while she was breastfeeding, or, I don't know. She had a long, long, long list. So I still don't like the lady. I just didn't like her. I really didn't like her in the movie all that much. She was okay. I mean, she was all right, but I've just heard things about her and whatever. So she did have a bunch of bad press after the movie was released because people were saying, God, she's not even talking about domestic violence. That is actually what the book was about. It was like, I mean, if you've read the book, you know the ending. It hit me like a bomb. I was like, wow. Like, it was worth that whole, there were some slow parts in the book, but it was all worth it for that very end. And so anyway, yeah, she just went on this whole press thing talking about like her hair care products and, make sure you wear your floral prints to the premiere. And it was all like, what? Like, this is not a chick flick movie. Like, this is a heavy topic. Like, why is she not talking about that? So that was a little weird for me. But anyway, so things are quiet. Justin Baldoni is not saying anything on his social media about these claims that she's made through the New York Times. And it's not, she's not suing him. She was making I think the claim was to I don't know if it was SAG or something. It was a sexual harassment claim, but she wasn't suing him. Well, he comes back with a $250 million lawsuit of defamation of character against the New York Times for publishing said article about him. And he has receipts, and man, like one for one, everything that she made a claim about with him, he has something clearing it up with a receipt. Like, he even has text messages where she had altered somebody in her crew had altered the message to make it look really bad towards him. But when you look at it in context, how it was actually written, and he's got the full text that he's obviously his lawyers are showing, she threw him under the bus for nothing. Like, so there's a lot of ego. Everyone's talking about on TikTok. It's got a lot of buzz, and basically everyone's chalking it up to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are a nightmare, and they have too much power, and they weren't getting things their way during the movie. That's his movie. And he was putting up with a lot of grief. So it's funny because there's a lot of female feminists, women feminists, who were like, when everything came out from the New York Times, they did, like all of their, I knew it. You guys aren't listening to women. You need to be listening to women. Like when Amber Heard and all that. I think they're both a nightmare, by the way. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, I think they're both guilty. They're both wackadoos. And Justin Baldoni may be very well. And by the way, I have a family member who works under the Screen Actors Guild. I think, well, he works behind the scenes, but he's worked with him or in his presence, and he says he's a douchebag. So I believe that, right? I definitely think that Justin Baldoni could be a douchebag. I mean, the guy's, come on, like, he's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Of course, he'd probably have a huge ego. And if you saw his proposal video to his wife, it's a 30-minute video of him, like, in music videos showing his body. It's like 30 minutes of him. Like, that's your proposal video. It's like, dude, it's all about you. So it comes across a little narcissistic, a little bit. So anyway, where was I going? So anyway, yeah, the claims that he's coming. So he's suing Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds. No. He's suing, the New York Times. The New York Times for the allegations and for printing that. And even, like, I think the Screen Actors Guild took her side. Even her co-star Atlas in the movie linked the New York Times article on his social media, and he doesn't follow Justin either. So there is definitely, and I mentioned that on something, and someone says, well, where there's power, there's money. And you don't know what Blake Lively and her husband could be making people say and do. Like, I'm like, shit, these two are like a force to be reckoned with. So anyways, it's juicy. But the feminists who were like all up in arms about Justin Baldoni are kind of eating their words now. You guys all jumped all over this thing saying, I knew it about Blake Lively, that something had happened to her and all this. But I mean, Justin Baldoni has proof. He has receipts. He has actual proof that they twisted stuff. And Ryan Reynolds apparently screamed at him during a sit-down meeting. And I think there's a lot of ego and craziness. And I think they all are crazy. Don't get me wrong. I do think they're all crazy. But it's just interesting to see how people jumped to sides and took sides. And like I said, I didn't really ever like her. I don't really know Ryan Reynolds, but he seems like a douchebag. And, I kind of would like to see Justin Baldoni get some justice. I would. I think that would be kind of beautiful, honestly. And I don't really care if I see any of them again on screen or whatever. I don't really care. But the drama has been interesting. And so that's one thing. And then one more thing I will mention is the terrorist attacks that happened on New Year's Day. Of course, there was one in front of Trump Tower and a Tesla Cybertruck, and it exploded. Apparently, the driver was ex-Navy SEAL, and he shot himself before the Cybertruck blew up, I guess. So that was the one death, and then 7 injured. So there was that, and then, of course, there was New Orleans and Bourbon Street, and horrific. A ex-military man had born here in the U.S., had taken his rented Chevy F-150, I think they call them, big white truck, was driving down Canal Street, made a sharp turn onto Bourbon past the whatever the pylons are that, like, you're not supposed to drive down that street, mowed over, I think it's up to 10, I think 15 people have died at this point. Is it 15? Maybe it's not, but I think it could be. I know people died immediately at the scene, and then there was some people died in the hospital. The most shocking footage I saw, well, first of all, there's a kid that went to Princeton. He was on the football team. Like, that kid stood out to me, of course, because he's beautiful. And, I mean, he died. His life, he was like, he's on a great path in his life, and his life's over. All of them should be alive. Obviously, I'm not just pointing, but he stood out to me. Because, like, I think about my son going on to college and maybe playing college basketball, and I just think, wow, this guy he was 28. He was not playing football or anything anymore, but he was, like, working on Wall Street, and he had a great path ahead of him. And yeah, okay. And then there was footage of a woman standing over another, well, it turned out to be her friend's body. People have described the carnage and said that people were flattened, and there was brain matter everywhere, and blood everywhere, and twisted bodies. And of course, this gentleman got out of the car and was going to shoot. He was starting to shoot or whatever. They shot and killed him, so he died. But this woman, it's a blurry image. I saw it on TikTok, and it was haunting because this woman was standing over her friend who had just been completely run over. I think she was one of them that her head had probably been run over. And people are running by her. The police are even running by her. And you could tell she isn't comprehending what just happened. And it looks like she's got her hand up to her mouth like, what do you do? You're standing there 1 minute celebrating, and the next minute your friend is squashed completely, run over right in front of you. That was so sorrowful to see this woman obviously in shock. Like, that was so hard to see. I can't imagine what must have been going through her mind. Do I walk away? Do I drag my friend somewhere? Call her family? Keep her body safe? Like, what do you do? No one's helping. There's nothing to do. You can't help her. She's absolutely, completely dead. And she needs to still protect herself because she didn't know if she was still in harm's way, but you could tell she did not know where to go or what to do. That one was really awful. If I can find it, I'll put it on my YouTube. So if it's on my YouTube, then you saw it. If not, maybe you don't want to see it. Anyway, all right. Well, another podcast where I cried. What's new? All right. God, the sun feels so nice. All right, I'm going to close this one up for today. So thank you guys for being there and listening to me and tuning in for my podcast. I appreciate it. I hope you are all starting your 2025 off in a good, positive way. And I wish you all, this is what is happening here. My hair is sticking up. I wish you all a lovely beginning to your 2025. And hugs and kisses to everybody. All right.